I wonder what would happen if I would die tonight. Now, I've never really been a suicidal person. I've never had thoughts of killing myself, but I've always had this sort of dark curiosity with how the world works around us because death is a part of life. I think we have all been told this since the beginning of our lives that people come and people go, people perish and people are born. It's the circle of life. It's pretty commonplace, but we very rarely stop to think about what happens if we die because we are in essence the center of our own worlds. We our lives revolve around us in some sorts. Now, I'm not saying the world revolves around us, but our lives revolve around us. They shouldn't revolve around other people. And in most cases they don't revolve around other people. But I feel like what would happen if I ceased to be? What would happen if I didn't wake up in the morning? Who would be at my funeral mourning me? It's the dark questions I ask myself occasionally. Again, it's the grim curiosity that keeps me up at night because what would happen if I were to just die? Would people even care, or would the slow march of life still go on? And of course, I'm not going to say I have the answers, but I would just like to ask you here at the beginning to think, what would the people around you have as a reaction to your death? Now, I don't want you to get too in depth about this. I don't want you to go down this whole long spiral as I have many times. It's just a thought that you can have. It's a different way of thinking about things that I find very intriguing, very exposing to explore. It's very, exploration of your own mind in your own life. Because, say I were to die tomorrow, who would care about me? Would the people I go to school with stop and take a look? Would they mourn my loss? Or would they continue on through the drudgery that is school? Would my family take the time to plan me a funeral? Would the people that I once knew come back and see me one last time at my procession? These are all, again, just some simple questions, some grim curiosities that I just can't seem to answer because I feel like that's the problem with death and why it piques my curiosity so much is that there is no way of knowing what happens after you die, at least in the way I think. I am not a religious man in any sort of way. Again, if I see any evidence of a god, I will believe in it 100%. But of course, I have yet to see that kind of evidence, and even the small amount of evidence I have for a god still points me in the direction of no singular one. But, in any form of the afterlife you believe in, not very many of them let you see yourself after you die. There are a couple who do. Like, if you believe in ghosts and all that kind of stuff, you can sort of see how your life moves on without you. But in most cases, in most beliefs, you never know what happens to you after you die. Either you're brought to heaven or brought to hell in the main Christian belief, and all the different subsects of Christianity and all the other religions about Christianity, which I will not go into too much depth about, but all of those Christian adjacent religions too, they all believe in the pretty black and white heaven or hell. A couple of them give you purgatory too. But in any of those options, you don't get to see what happens after you die. And that gives you the curiosity that what does happen? What would happen? I would like to see my own funeral. I would like to see all the people that come, all the faces I had once seen in my life. See them care about me almost. But again, there's no real way of knowing if this happened. Sure, I could take my own life as dark as it is, and I would still never truly know the answer to this question. Because this is all dark fantasies for me, of course. If I die, I don't know what happens after I die. If I don't die, I don't know what happens if I die anyway. So, it's a circular argument, but it's always one that fascinates me. what would happen if I simply ceased to exist? Would people even stop to bat an eye? Would the people who I really want to care actually care? And who would I see care that I didn't necessarily expect to care, you know? And it sort of is a gateway question to thinking about your own life, thinking about it a little more in depth from a different angle. Because most of the time we think about our lives of us being there. But what happens whenever you remove this common from the pictures in your own head? Because that's what most of these theories are. Every time you think about your own life, that's exactly what you're doing. You're thinking about your own life, not what happens in the absence of it. And of course, that is a good gateway question to lead yourself down this whole journey of looking into yourself. And I do suggest you look at it from this different perspective. I suggest you look at everything from a different perspective from time to time, as it's very useful to growth. But it's, again, always this sort of dark curiosity that seemed to fascinate me and many others. So, again, at the end of the videos here, I would like to ask a question. Do you really think that our lives change that much after our deaths? What do you think would happen if you could see your own funeral procession? And this is more of a personal one. So most of the time I'll ask these questions and say, maybe you can answer them in a handful of comments. And I really love reading through those comments, but these questions are a whole lot more personal. They're talking about your life and your own experiences. And they're very hard to put into a comment for others to read on the internet. And I feel for that. There have been so many times where I've had things to say, but have just been silent because I'm not very much so comfortable with being that vulnerable on this place called the internet. But I do hope you guys enjoyed. I do hope you look into your life in these other perspectives. What happens after? And of course, this is a dark curiosity. It's very much so not a light topic, but I'm not speaking ill of my own life, and I'm not trying to put your life down. This is all about just, again, looking at things from another angle. So I do hope you enjoyed. You can come back soon. I know I haven't been posting a lot of content recently. That's because I was all busy with midterms in school and all the stress that comes with that, and writing assignments and this, that, and there, and preparing for playing Dungeons and Dragons again, which I did have a lot of fun with. But that's all a conversation for later. So, I do hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys soon, and I guess I'll see you guys down in the comment section.